know why I have to. It's a very good occasion that I can speak first. Today I'm going to share a little bit on our Puchong medical outreach. I would say this is the first time we done this. We organized this in Puchong Center. Actually, this program is between TIMA and the UNHCR. So actually, the program is a medical clinic. It's a free clinic to all the refugees. So we have this what they call it, this occasion to organize this event together with TIMA. I will show you some slides why today I would like to share this medical outreach. Okay, the medical outreach was, we organized it in our community center in Puchong. So we organized it in our center. Okay. So from the day we prepare, all of our volunteers actually do up the setting ourselves. Of course, with TIMA guide on how the cubicle, the clinic is going to look like. And then, because it's the first time we do it, so we are very inexperienced. Most of the time, we need a lot of guidance from TIMA personnel. They actually help us a lot how to set up the clinic in our community center. Then the most important part that I would like to share, spend a little bit more time on this, because at the first place, what is refugees? We doesn't know what actually constitute a refugees. For us, refugees and normal foreign workers, to us is the same. But actually it's not. Refugees, they are these people, they are holding United Nations, UNHCR card. So some of them actually in their card, they state their origin of countries, maybe Myanmar, they are Rohingyas. But some of them stated at stateless, means that they are without countries. So stateless means their parents, their mother and father is United Nations. So we also don't know how to reach out to them because our first time in Puchong. What we did is that morning time, those sister and brothers which is not working, they will reach out to some of these refugees, so-called, because we doesn't know their background. So we hit the roads and then ask around, and then actually they show us some of their card, and then we tell them what are we. And then I'd like to share here is that Puchong is a very big community township. I think it's around 500,000 population, Puchong itself. But he doesn't know that there are a lot of refugees actually living together with us. We doesn't know they are scattered around, and then they don't know who is Tzu Chi, what are we doing. So we spend a lot of time, do home visit, go to their place of, their community and explain to them who are we, what are we doing. But initially, a lot of refugees actually doesn't believe us, don't want to believe us, and then slowly we have to do a lot of outreach to the refugees and really explain to them. During the day, then we tell our volunteers also, since it's the first time and then nobody actually know us, Puchong having this, so we need to be very careful. That's why a lot of briefing, been going on to tell all the volunteers to be more sensitive, because sometimes some of these, most of them are Muslim Rohingyas, and then we are very sensitive towards religious matter. Okay. So what we did is that since the acceptance is not there yet, what we do is that we actually applied the police permit properly, because refugees, being a person in another foreign countries, they are very careful, they are very skeptical, they try to distance from certain authorities. So what we did is that we applied the proper police permit, we do up a proper signage, and then our volunteers actually go to their center and fetch them to our clinic and show them our sincerity that we are actually doing this for the community good, for their own good, to let them know that we are here not to harm anybody for any benefits. Next. So during the medical outreach, then of course this is some of the photo that we did the registration, the vital sign, and then a lot of personnel from, very surprisingly, a lot of, I mean, for the first time, TIMA volunteers, especially the young one, and then they spend a lot of time, you know, guide us, and then participate in this Puchong outreach. So, and then we get a lot of doctors, mixture of doctors from TIMA. Actually, in fact, at the initial registration, we actually got overloaded by doctors, which is, said, wow, this is fantastic. A lot of doctors willing to actually come to Puchong. Some of them, I think, one of the photo, the lady doctor bring her own equipment, the ultrasound equipment. She bring her own equipment. So it gives us a sense that we are, our preparation, all what we are doing is on a good deed. This is the dispensary. Because of the language barriers, we also having language barriers to explain to them properly, you know, the medication. And then of course, during the outreach, we are not only doing medical, we also take the opportunity to explain what Tzu Chi has been doing, and then our caring program, and the bamboo coins program. Tell them how they can help the others also. And then, of course, if you see some of the photos, we have volunteers, TIMA volunteers, which is working with TIMA. Actually, they themselves are refugees, but they come out from their nutshell. Then they come out and then they volunteers themselves and work for Tzu Chi TIMA. So this is the last photo that is showing that actually we got 100 over volunteers from TIMA and our center to work together. And then the last photo there is the police sergeant from the special branch. He also visited us, and then he gave us the blessing that initially to the very surprise that when we apply the permit through the special branch, they also ask a lot of questions. They don't know who are we. They don't know what are we doing. Are we on political reason or any other reason? We said no. This is more on humanitarian ground. Then maybe I show you this photo. Okay. When we go and fetch the refugees at the time, the whole process from preparation towards the end of the medical outreach is very tiring. And initially we thought this program is for the benefit of these refugees, whereby we provide them with a free medical, free screening, and then all the medication. But towards the end, because I'm also fetching some of the refugees, so towards that, during the journey, I fetch one family from Yemen. Then he's 48 years old with the teenage children growing up, 3 of them, and the mother 86 years old. They are all from Yemen. So during the journey from his house to our center is around 15 kilometers. Then I chit chat with him. I said, sir, how do you ended up in Malaysia? He said, back home Yemen there's a war. Then I said, things getting better now. He said, getting worse. In fact, the sister and the mother still in Yemen. Then I told him that anybody that actually care for you back in Malaysia, he said, not much, little bit here and there, but our Tzu Chi person every month also visited him and then care for him. So he feel that he doesn't know why this organization be doing that. So I also feel very glad that Tzu Chi actually carry out this our mission. So towards I posed him a question. I said, sir, do you think you got the chance of going back to Yemen? Then he paused for a while. He never talked anything. And suddenly he said, I do not have a chance of going back. He has no chance of going back home to Yemen. So that particular words to me is very, very strong, because for us, let's say in the morning we wake up or at night, we switch on the light, we can see the colors of our life. For the refugees, for this family, they can't see the light in front of them. It's all dark, because how are you going to carry on the future for the children? So it's all dark, and then not in your own land. So towards the end of this medical outreach, it's give me a sense that today is not we provide them a service or we give them a benefit. It's they give me the benefit. I actually want to express my gratitude to them. Actually give me a chance to serve, to make me realize that how grateful am I. I'm sitting here and doing, my life is so complete, I would say. So actually they allow me to serve them, to give me a chance to feel gratitude, to feel grateful. Then towards the end of the outreach, then I realized that actually the whole outreach matters is actually helping us, or helping me, in fact, to so-called wake up, to get more realize that, helping people in needs actually is a very, very noble act. It's a very, very noble act. And then it actually get ourselves improved, rather, our mind and body to purify. So the whole process, I think the whole benefit is all the volunteers. Show the last one. Towards the end, I would say then now I start to realize that why we all carry all this charity, voluntary work, what is the message behind it? The message behind it is that it's not the person who you serve. If you yourself that benefit from each activities, each thing, each mission we are doing, we are the one who grow up every now and then. So our mind has grown up. So I actually give me a very good awakening, I would say, to actually wherever our mission we carry out is actually back at the end of the day is to us. It's not to anybody, right? So this was my little bit of sharing. So we will continue to serve the community. So we will then. Of course, the advisor is Dr. Fu, so he is also very pleased with the whole event. Then actually, our now our mission is more towards like reach out to the refugees and then to look at their welfare and going forward how to take care of their welfare better. So that's the whole idea of outreach. So from this event, I actually grew up a lot. I grew up a lot, especially the words from the Yemen family. It's actually hit me quite hard. So that I really have to appreciate what I have today. And then while I still got the energy and time, I will continue to serve. Oh, Gan En. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Brother Kai Hua to share. In fact, I got to know that last year Brother Kai Hua he got certified commissioner last year in Taiwan, and then during his commissioning he vowed to bring medical mission to Puchong, right? Because last year Brother Kai Hua and his home sister, two of them served at they joined the Klang medical outreach. So that time I got to know Brother Kai Hua during his commissioning last year. He vowed to bring medical mission to Puchong, and he really walked the talk lah, I would say. Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. Long time no see. Yeah. I think the lighting is not enough because I'm too dark now. 2 days ago I met Lungelo from Africa, and I compared my hand to her. I think I'm even darker than her already. Really merging very well with Mozambican families. So long time no see my family members all over the world. I'm back finally. I've been there for 56 days, and just now listening to Brother Kai Hua sharing about free clinics really bring back a lot of memories in Mozambique, because we also held a free clinic over there, and it's really very difficult because it's really lacking so much resources. I mean, just boring tables there is already made us go crazy, and there's no electricity, it's no water, and then translations. So we need to find a lot of students, university students, to help us. I mean, even with them helping, we still need like 2 translators, because they have the local dialect, and then the students speaks English, and then we speak Chinese, so they have to translate into English, and then English translate into Portuguese, then Portuguese translate into their own dialect. So it's with many translations, and then the doctors can understand what the patient is talking about. And then also seeing how lacking is the medical resource in Mozambique. In one whole big province, they only have 4 doctors. Only 4 doctors. And in fact, most of the surgeries are not done by the doctors, are done by what they call medical technicians, because doctors are too expensive. So it's the medical technicians that does most of the surgeries. They are like just machines. They know the surgeries, they know how to do the operations, and so they do the operations. And they're not doctors. And that's how lacking is the medical resource in Mozambique. And so when we go there and have free clinics, what we saw, what we hear from them is that most of the people, it was their first time in their life that they see doctors. So there's really a lot of experiences over there, and I can only share a little bit from my own. Do you see the PPT? Okay, give me a second. Okay, so a few words to begin. I realized 56 days over there actually allowed me to almost understand Portuguese. And a few words that I really use a lot every day. I mean, just learning these 3 phrases already allowed me to go everywhere. First one is bon dia, which is what I want to say to everyone. Bon dia, it means good morning. Bon dia. And then the second word I would say is tudo bem, which is how are you? Literally actually means, tudo means everything. Ben is good. So tudo bem is everything good? And then when someone says tudo bem to you, you reply tudo, which means everything is good. Tudo bem? Tudo. And the third thing that we always say every day is obrigado. Obrigado, which means Gan En. In fact, if you say Gan En to them, they will reply Gan En, because everyone there now knows Gan En. And then when you go to the villages, and just someone in the village, when you're walking inside and you close the palm and you say Gan En, and they really will reply Gan En. And it's now kind of almost like the greeting phrase in the whole village of Lamego. It's one of the disaster zone that we went in, and then we held a lot of volunteer training there. We distributed to all the families over there, and so every family knows Gan En. It's very interesting that this seed has been planted there. Of course, in the very first few days when we were there, the first few weeks when we were there, it's really difficult, not easy. There was no electricity, and then the water was not very well. With 6,000 over cholera cases, we were really, really very precautious of the water. So, I mean, even the water coming off the tap, we don't really use it to even just to rinse our mouth or to brush our teeth, because all the water system was kind of polluted. So it was really, so this is the kind of life that we were staying there with. We borrowed one of the office of an entrepreneur, which we are really, really thankful about. But without electricity, in fact, every night we are living in such conditions, with using solar lights as our light, and then sit on our Hui Chuang, the football beds, and then with mosquito nets, and then with mosquitoes and flies flying around, which really reminds me of an idiom, an African proverb that speaks very well. It says, "If you think you are too small to be impactful, then you have not slept with a mosquito." And those few nights we've been spending all night with mosquitoes flying around, and it's really, really very, hard to sleep. And so, but if we really go into the disaster zone, this is how our local volunteers have been spending their nights over there, and they have been spending 2 months in the disaster zones to accompany the victims. And what we see is really the aftermath of what has happened. Of course, the water has receded, but we see the aftermath of all of this. This is what the pictures from that first few days when the cyclone died. And then Mozambique is really, really a very flat country. There's no mountain over there. So people have never seen mountain before. So you could imagine when the water come up, it's the whole place flooded. And you see this highway that went through the country. This is the highway that we have been passing through every single day. And when we look to the side, we still see water that still remains from that first few days. These are some of the photos that I took. We see families. There's over 200 families that stays in one of these tent areas. In fact, there's many such tent areas, and this is one of the best already. They have tents from the resources all over the world. They are receiving water from the government. They are cooking from whatever they are receiving from NGO. For the past few months, they are staying alive from the food that's been given. There's no way they could go back to their original life. And this is what they could cook from. It's just powder, soya powders, cook, and then there'll be their one whole meal for that day. And then they don't even really have the things to burn with. And so they use the plastic plates or whatever they can pick from the rubbish to burn. And this is how they get the water. The government will bring the water to put into this water bladder, and then people will be crowding around to receive the water. When the water truck comes, you see the hose have little holes in the water coming out, and then people are just squeezing around to try to get as much water as they can in order to to keep for their own usage. And then people are washing up clothes outside. And then this is some of the clinics that we went to with because of the 6,000 cases of cholera outbreak. The United Nations have brought in 900,000 oral vaccines for cholera, and so everywhere we go, every clinic we go, there'll be lines and lines of people lining up to get this vaccine, and everyone will get this vaccine. In fact, when we were driving around town, the village actually, people would knock on our window screen and ask us to roll down a window, and then they would give, okay, take this vaccine. They would give us vaccine on the road. So you can imagine how widespread is this situation, but luckily though, because of these resources from all over the world, and then everyone taken this vaccine, 900,000 such vaccines, and so the outbreak was controlled, and so it was limited down, and now it was now safe already. The water is now safe. The clinics that we go to again is really badly damaged. The roofs were all gone. In fact, when we go there, not many houses has complete roofs. It was all damaged already, and then everything was soaked. It was like churned once there. So these are some of the places that we have went to. From Bela, we go all the way straight to Tika, Lamengo, and Yamatanda, and these are some of the places that has been badly hit by the cyclone. In fact, the news we've been hearing Bela, but it's just one of the most hit area. In fact, those villages in Yamatanda and Tika and Lamengo, these are one of the most poorest villages in Mozambique, and they live along the river, and they are one of the most badly hit. And because the houses are one of the most simple, and so damage was really very bad. These are some of the drone pictures that I took, that we took, and you could see besides the road was still waters that are left behind from the flood. Even up to now, the water still did not reside, and the road was damaged. The foundation of the road was washed away by the water. So you could imagine that the highway is the highest point. Everywhere else was water, and then the current of the water was so strong that the base of the road was washed away, and then the whole road just toppled like this. And so this 5-kilometer stretch of road was damaged like that, and it's all water around, and we see this truck that fell down into this pit, and then we heard the driver died from there. In fact, when we were there, there was this tourist bus from Maputo also fell down into this hole at night. So every day we have to drive through this passage. It's 30 kilometers of always. We have to drive this 70 kilometers up and down this stretch, and then morning and night. It's really actually quite dangerous, but this is our life over there. And then this is one of the village area that we went to, right beside the highway. All those white houses you see over there, in fact, was already not there when the cyclone hit. All the houses were completely destroyed in this place. So what you see now were what the victims built, the makeshift tent that they built with whatever resource they can get, whatever things they can pick up from the floor, bamboos, the branches, just plastic sheets, plastic bags. From whatever the thing they can pick up, they make this makeshift tent. This is one of the victims, and also our volunteers. He has been showing around the places, and he pointed to me this concrete house. There is one of the very few concrete buildings over there, and he said that this building they have squeezed almost 100 people in this one small house for one whole week when the cyclone hit. 100 people squeezed inside there. And then when we actually walked into this small village, it was still raining. And you can imagine how soaked was all the people there. It was, of course, there's no such thing as called umbrella. So everyone was just standing in the rain. And then when we walked inside, it was really muddy. Then inside the house, it's also very muddy. So it's really, really bad. And kids were using plastic bags to hide their heads, and then with big walks. This is all the things they can have to hide themselves in the water. And this is how the houses that have been destroyed. You can see how the house actually simply just melt when the water came, because the house was built only with these mud bricks, and when these mud bricks meet the water, everything just melts, and so the house was just destroyed like this. And so besides the destroyed house, which in their word they call it casa. Casa is home in Portuguese, casa. Besides that destroyed casa, it's that makeshift casa. And they've been living there for this past few months. There's plastic sheets wrapped around bamboos or branches, and then inside it, this is whatever they have. Mosquito net, I guess, is the most important thing they can have inside. And then these, of course, they try their best to rebuild their home, but they made the foundation already. They draw the line with all the leaves they can get, but they cannot build any further because they just have no money to buy the bamboo and or branches, they don't even have tools to do, the scissors or the saws. They don't have any of this, so they couldn't continue anymore. So we see a lot of these foundations, but no houses. They cannot continue anymore. And it is in these places we met this little girl that maybe you have heard her story before. Her name is called Flooding, because she was born when the cyclone hit, and then the mother was pregnant, and she ran, lots of people swimming because the water is already waist height, close to the waist. So she was running and swimming across towards the road, but it was really too far away. So she climbed up to a tree, and that's where she gave birth to this little daughter. And she gave her a name, Flooding. Her husband was like standing down the tree to catch the daughter. And when she was, after she gave birth, they tried to run to the nearest hospital. But when they were there, we realized the hospital was also flooded up to here. And then so the hospital was not operating. Everything was just stopped, standing still. And so they went back and stayed on the highway that we're talking about. Is the only highest ground over there. And so everyone in the village has been staying on the highway for that one whole week to wait for the flood to go. And they have been living with the water they could get from the flood water, the muddy water they could get, and they just get a few branches to boil the water, and then that's the water that they drink for the one whole week. And this is not the house that they stay in. This is their toilet, actually. The plastic sheets. There's their toilet, and the place that they sleep is where the arrow points at. So there's no roof, there's no nothing. They just sleep there, open space. Up to now, it's still like that. We see a lot of kids with very big tummies. Of course, maybe malnutrition, or maybe some worms inside their stomachs. But these are the common scenes that we see everywhere. So seeing all these images of deep suffering over there, and when you see it's everywhere, it's one huge village. Everywhere is the same. Sometimes we feel, how much strength do we have to help them when we were there? But when we see the whole world, 55 countries were doing their best to have donation drive, to pull the love in to help, we also feel that we have backups, that this love from everywhere were coming in to help. And so when I was there, when we had volunteer trainings, I was speaking, had a chance to speak with them. This is what I said: we're not here to help, we're here to see families. Because we are brothers and sisters, and this love from all over the world are pouring their love to be here, to try to help our families. And I said, we're not here because we have things we want to give to you. We are here because it's like when we see our family members hungry, we want to cook for them. When we see our family members were hurt, we want to quite quickly try to find some medicines to put to them and then give them a hug. And that's what we are doing. We're not here to help. We're here to see families. And it's with that kind of mindset, we have distributed up to almost 26,000 families with livelihood kits and construction and agriculture kits to try to help them to at least rebuild their house. And it is because of all the scenes that we have seen that they lack the tools, they lack the seeds, they lack the means to rebuild themselves. And so that's why we brought together all the tools, the sewing, everything, the ropes and wires and the scissors and everything, to try to help them to recover, to rebuild. But 26,000, of course, is only the very, very small portion of all the people that's been affected. And there's still a long way to go to help them to continue further. I want to share a few stories of what we see over there, and our volunteers. It really touches us a lot. Courage like a lion. This is what we see. In one of these distribution of this livelihood kit in this place called Matenga. It's very far away from Bela. It's about 150 kilometers to drive, like almost 3 to 4 hours to reach there. And when we arrived there, even the driver of the truck was telling us that actually is very dangerous. You going there, bring all these resources going in. People are very hungry. They have not been receiving resources for a long time, and so you bring the resources going in like this is really very dangerous. And we were like very worried as well. And so we actually hired some police to try to come, but that day was a holiday. And so in the end, the police never come. And when we reached there, we were like shocked because the distribution venue is right beside the road. It's like one open space, and then people were crowding around, and it's like it's a lot of people standing up beside the road. And when I was sitting on the truck, and when I look out, this is what I see, is that people were everywhere. And then it was like, well, should we go down? Will anything happen? Would it be like riots or something? And so our local volunteer told us that we Asian face stay on the truck. They will go down to see what happened and see what I can do. And so we see them shifting people around to stay in the shade of the trees and so on and so forth. And then we were like, I was there like trying to feel what was the atmosphere. Are the people angry? I don't know what was happening. But then I realized that Mozambican people, they're actually very, very kind, and they were very simple. Their mind are very, very simple. So I see them moving around, but they're actually not angry. They were just there waiting to receive the help. And so I saw one of our staff called Shayla. She walked into the crowd very courageously and begin to speak to them, because these people that stands on the road, they are actually not receiving today. But with so many people crowding around, we scared that they are going to, they are going to fight for the resources. They were going to fight to receive the resources today. So Shayla walked into the crowd and then begin speaking. Of course, I don't understand what she say, but she speak for quite a while, and then people have to translate for them, because actually they come from Maputo, and Maputo speaks a different dialect from these people in Sofala, this disaster area, and so they also have to go through translation. And so she pulled one of the chief to translate for her, and so they spoke for a long time. And then after a while, I saw the crowd begin clapping, and I was really, really amazed, because it was like, what happened? And then so everyone was kind of happy, and then they were clapping, and then after which people began to walk back home. And I don't know how long they walked back, but it seems a very, very long distance, because the roads are very far. I don't really see houses nearby, and then people just begin walking back. I was really surprised. What do you say? I waved to Shayla and asked her, so what do you tell them? What was it that you tell them? Why is it to make them accept and then go back home? And then Shayla shared. Actually, what she shared to them is that we are really sorry to see all this suffering over here, and we are sorry that we cannot distribute to all the families over here in one time. There are 4,000 over families over here. We cannot distribute to everyone at once. So we only ask everyone to be patient. We will come back again tomorrow, and the day after, we will distribute to everyone over here. So please be patient, and we are really sorry also. At the same time, we also ask everyone to please applaud for those mothers that we'll be receiving today. In fact, a lot of people that come to receive our mothers, we don't see a lot of men over there. And when we actually go and ask, actually, it is because they just went through civil war only 26 years ago. And then a lot of men died during that period of time. And so their population structure now actually has more females than men. And so this is what she said to them, and they really accepted it, and they just went back home already. And in fact, they really leave a very strong impression in our minds that Mozambican people, they are really very nice and very simple in their mind, and they don't really fight, they don't really have a lot of conflicts, they just need help. In fact, there was one scene that really lived in my mind. There's people crowding around. Again, there was once we were trying to go out, and then we were really afraid that people would try to fight for resources. But when we go out, people, all this crowd just begin to walk apart, to leave a road for us to walk through. And then when I hear this one lady, one mother, she just softly spoke to me. She said, "Will we come back again? Will you come back again?" So they were actually just they are not, they won't fight. They won't try to fight for resources. They just need help, and it's just a very simple thing that they just ask for. And so so all these nice things happen. So the distribution went through very nicely. So people were lining up, and then we use these bricks to use as chairs for them to wait, for them to sit down. And then there were songs and singings. The atmosphere was really high, and then everyone was very happy. These mothers, they bring this yellow bucket with them to come to this distribution venue, and we were asking them, why do you bring this small little like oil tanks? Actually, it's water tanks for them. They use it to fill waters. We asked them, realized that actually they thought the way we distribute will be something like what the previous few distributions that they're receiving is like. The previous few distributions that they received from other people is, you know, they will have this one big tank of like maybe corn powder or oil. So they will bring their own containers to come and fill up their containers, their own containers. But then they realize that what they are getting from Tzu Chi is in fact much more. And so it's like almost 30 kg of materials, the comb powders, the livelihood kits, brush, toothpaste, buckets, spoons, and all the very many different things. And so they were really happy. The emotion was so joyous. And then when we see them go back home, it's very beautiful seeing everyone really happy. This is what they hope. Okay. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Tzu Chi. And again, there was songs throughout the whole distribution. People were still standing on the road, but they are now just participating in this one whole ceremony. And then people were singing. It's really happy. And then we distributed 1,000 families that day. It took us really a long time because people cannot read, so sometimes they don't even know their names. So when we call out the names, there'll be a few people come, and then they'll be like, they don't really know their names, so we cannot actually even have a list and ask them to try to find their names because they cannot even read. And so the distribution actually takes quite a while, one whole afternoon, but we managed to distribute almost 1,000 families a day. So it is in this way we have distributed 11 sessions of livelihood kit distribution, and then 11 sessions of construction kits, and we benefited 20 over families. So in 36 days, we finished. It's almost like one day of distribution, one day of rest, one day of distribution, one day of rest. And it's in this way our local volunteers have been distributing for so many days. It's really very tiring for more than 1 month they've been distributing. So again, I see what is persevering like camel. And in this way they distributed, our volunteers were really amazing. I see them, this is in Tzu Chi's home in Maputo. People, they were really organized and disciplined, and then they were packing this livelihood kit, and they formed these lines, walking round and round to pack the resources. And then I saw them, you know, with corn flours on their heads, and then they are 放掌, and then they're walking like this. It's like they are doing this 绕佛绕法. It's really amazing, and the whole atmosphere is really 很有道气. It's like they are having this ceremonies, Buddha ceremonies when they are doing this. And then they use these cardboard sheets to be their hat. They were really creative, and and so it's again like simple heart of a child. Every volunteer type is this Shayla. Actually, her feet there's this big wound, and it was really almost like rotting already because she has been wearing this the water boot, and then her feet was like rubbing inside of it, and all the flood waters and everything, and all the infections. It was really bad. She cannot wear shoes for many days, but then again, she is the leader. She was the staff, and so every distribution she had to coordinate all the volunteers. So every day I see her limping around, but she persevered through. And then our doctors came to try to help, to ask her to please rest, and then to change the wound for her. And then now she can wear shoes already. So our local volunteers like this. Again, this is another volunteer, Sister Amelia. Her left hand was hurt because she met a car accident. A speeding car hit her, and so she fell down and hurt her leg, her hand. And so we were asking her, do you want to go home to Maputo to rest? But she says, no, I don't have to. My left hand is on holiday. but my right hand don't have to take holiday. My right hand still continue to work. And so, so she still stayed with us. And then, and she even says that she feel very sorry, and that she was very sorry for that driver that hit her, because that driver actually was also hurt a little. So she was like trying to go back to the village and ask people whether they know this driver. She want to find this driver, not to ask for compensations, but to ask, are you okay? Have you recovered already? So it's the kind of heart that these volunteers, they are really amazing. And many of the volunteers are from the disaster areas. They are also victims. This is the house they live in. This is, she's called Fatima. She has 10 kids, but they live in this makeshift house that's very, very small. But yet again, every day they come to become volunteers. And so, really amazingly, Sister Dennis, she has made a vow to gather 500 volunteers locally in a disaster zone. In 2 weeks, she met that goal. We gathered almost 600 volunteers over there. And when we shared with Master, we already met our goal with 600 volunteers. And Sister Danny was saying that she was really, really sorry, because I think she set the goal too low. 500 is too small, the number. But Master says, no. 500 is not too small, but 1,000 is not also too much. And so we can make a bigger vow. And so the volunteers, after discussions, they say that, okay, we're going to vow again. We will have 6,000 volunteers to come. And so I'm sure they're going to meet their goal very quickly, very, very quickly. And also we have this group of 18 volunteers that they decide to shift their home from Maputo all the way to Sofala, to Bela, to the disaster zone. They want to continue to cultivate this seed of Tzu Chi over there. And so we have these 18 people that wanted to shift over there. We asked them a few questions, the volunteers. How many of them do not have a bed in their house? And like, it's like everyone raised their hand. They don't have bed in their house. And we asked them again, how many of you do not have husband in your home? And then, not many. And so actually, a lot of them are single. They have been raising child by themselves. And again, there's a long story why it's like this, but kind of because it's like this. And so they really can contribute their whole life into Tzu Chi. And so it's almost like pure practitioners. They can just go to disaster area, with no burden. And then so these were 5 of these 18 that will be going to Bela, shifting their home there. And we asked them, so what will you do over there? So one of them said, I'm from the sewing team. They make all these bags from the rice bags. And so she says she's going to bring her sewing machine there and use that to help the people over there. And then there's also one that's from the Xiangji. She does cooking, and so she's going to bring the pot to do cooking over there. And then there's also one that does the farming, and so she's going to bring her her enshada. There's the hoe. She's going to bring it to do farming over there, to cook for the volunteers, for disaster victims. Then there's also our commissioners. She says she's going to bring the bamboo to share about bamboo bang era. And then finally, our sister Anna Maria, she says she's going to go there to spread Master's teaching. And so she's going to bring Master's soul. And so it's really amazing that they all have their own strength, their own abilities, and they are going to bring the Tzu Chi seed there to Bela. And so amazing. It's like really lotus growing everywhere. This is also what we took. The flood water, because of the flood water, everywhere there was like this. They were like this. It's actually more like lily. It looks really like lotus, but it's everywhere. This kind of beautiful flowers are growing everywhere on flood waters. But it's like this. It's in mud. where bodhisattvas, where lotus grow, and it's in sufferings where bodhisattvas come. And so all these volunteers that we see, and I'm sure that this Dharma will continue there in this disaster area. In fact, our volunteers are now still in there, continue to help them. And there will be more beautiful stories to come. And I'm sure there will be a lot of things to share with everyone again and again. So thank you so much. I'll end my sharing today here. Thank you. Yeah, let's have Hong Sifu to help me to conclude.
Okay, good morning once again. Thanks a lot for Brother YuPing give us such a great, wonderful sharing. Actually, like what this morning Master's teaching is saying, those people, they are not normal, 正常人, 平常人, not a human being as a normal. They are like a great Bodhisattva because they have a great wealth, because they want to, you know, to employ more, to recruit more living Bodhisattva to join our Tzu Chi mission to help those who are in need. So, and as well as 500 is not considered as less, and if 6,000 not considered as more. So I think 大菩萨, 小菩萨, like Master said, the newly inspired living Bodhisattva is just considered as a small Bodhisattva, not in the age. 小菩萨 call 那个. So I think just like as well as the spirit of earth treasure Bodhisattva, 地藏王菩萨 also. So wherever there's the health haven't been clear of, he wants to get enlightened. So this is what I think Brother YuPing also the same. I think they all a team young people who are asked the permission from Master say again, is it possible for them to come back again to the Africa if there's a need for them to go and, you know, to pass Master's message and to see what is the long-term distribution or the long-term act we have to do in the future so that we can brighten up, you know, to brighten the world of Africa to be more better life, I think. So I think this is the end for my feedback for today. Thanks a lot. Thank you.